Okay, the reason we do order of operations first is because technically we see order of operations within simplifying expressions that have variables. So I broke apart the two properties that we just looked at. We looked at distributive first and then combining like terms. And if you think about order of operations, technically a distributive property falls under multiplication, which comes first, and combining like terms is adding and subtracting, which are the last two properties. So now we're going to put those two properties together, and we're going to see the distributive property and combine like terms. So simplifying expressions can combine the past two lessons into one expression. An expression is simplified when there is no multiplication or like terms. When simplifying, we need to distribute first, which means we're going to multiply first. And we're going to combine like terms last. My calculator's in the way. Now, when we combine like terms, that means we can either add or subtract. So both of those operations fall into the combine like terms. So when we distribute, that's when we're going to see that single number attached to your parentheses. So if I look right here, this is my distributive property. Now in this first one, I am going to expand just like we did before, and then I'm going to show you an easier way that can be helpful. So when we did this before, I'm going to act like that negative 9a is not there. We said 10 has to go to my first friend, which is 6a. Then my 10 has to go to its second friend, which is a negative 1. And then there, I got to drop that minus 9a because he's still part of the problem. We still need to multiply. So I'm going to do all my multiplication. Here's the first one. 10 times 6 is 60a. Minus 10. And then I still have that minus 9a out back. Now from here, we can combine like terms. There's no other multiplication. So I have a 60a and a negative 9a, which is going to give me 51a, and then I'm going to drop my minus 10. So I like expanding in this first one with the green because it's going to show you all the multiplication that you have to do. But there is another method. So let's look at the second one. I call it the rainbow method. So we're going to look at that. So before I do anything, I'm going to find that number that's directly attached to the parenthesis. You do have to take the sign with it. So here is where I'm going to distribute. So first things first, there's that negative 2n out front. I'm just going to rewrite it. Negative 2n. From here, I'm going to distribute. The rainbow method means I'm going to put my pen on that negative 4, and I'm going to draw a rainbow to its first friend. And I'm going to multiply. Negative 4 times 9 is a negative 36. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to go back to my friend on the outside, negative 4, and I'm going to rainbow to my other one. Negative times a negative is a positive. 4 times 10 is 40. And then n is still attached. From here, I can combine like terms. Negative 2n plus 40n is 38n. And then I have my lonely negative 36. I'm going to box in my distributive property. Here's my distributive property. Again, I'm going to drop my 10 down. And then I'm going to start distributing my friend. Go to your negative 5 because he's on the outside. Negative 5 times our first friend, 9, is a negative 45n. I'm going to go back to my negative 5 and distribute to its second friend. Negative and a negative make a positive. 5 times 9 is 45. I'm going to find my like terms. My like terms this time do not have letters. They are just numbers. So 10 plus 45 is a 55, and my minus 45n goes out back. Now this next one gets a little bit more complicated. We have two separate distributed properties. There's a distributed property out front and there's a distributed property out back. We have to do these two separately. So I'm going to use my rainbow. My rainbows are going to be in my two blues. So 5 times x, just get attached, it's a 5x. Then I have my 5 times 4, so that's going to be a plus 20. I'm done with my blue guys. Now I got to go to my reds. So 16 times 2 is a positive 32x. Then I'm going to take my 16 and multiply it by a negative 7, which is a negative 112. Again, you guys are using your calculators. Okay, now go through and match. I have a 5x and a 32x. When I add those in my calculator, I get 37x. I have two plain old numbers. I have a positive 20 and a negative 112. When I combine those, I get a negative 92.